Hey guys, welcome to my video, and today I'm going to be giving you an overview of my Audi R8 V10 Plus. Now let's talk about some of the key features of the exterior of this car, and I'll try to be quick about it, guys. Right off the bat, you guys will see the 20-inch Y-spoke wheels. Now you can get these in a variety of colors. You can get them in black. I think you can get them in just like a regular silver color, and then there's this sort of anodized gray finish. I thought this looked best with the gray grille here. Now, also taking a look at the front, you guys will see these little like mesh inserts, part of their design language. It looks really, really good. Of course, if we take a look in detail here, you guys will see that there are LED headlights here. Now this comes standard. There's actually a lot of standard equipment on this car, believe it or not. There's actually not so much in terms of actual options that you can get on this car. And I honestly found that a little bit crazy, because when you look at Lamborghini Huracans, you can easily put another 70, 80 grand in options on those cars. And with this car, it's not really the case. Now, another thing I want to note about the front is this little subtle carbon fiber lip here. You don't really see it unless you look very closely, but there is a carbon fiber lip here. And this is not the only use of carbon fiber on the car. So let's get to talking about some carbon fiber. Now, moving to the side of the car, you guys will see that this mirror cap is carbon fiber. Now, this is a tint, so that's aftermarket. Also more carbon fiber. And then we're looking back at the wheels again, and we'll just do a quick walk around explaining everything about the car. But now this is one of my favorite angles of this car, is the back. Okay, now you guys will see the extensive use of carbon fiber here. You guys will see the carbon fiber on the wing. You guys will even see the carbon fiber in the engine bay. There's a lot of carbon fiber back here, but looking at it, you guys will see why it looks so good from the back. Honestly, I absolutely love this area right here. And then of course, my race exhaust that you guys can also see right there. No mufflers, no resonators, no secondary cats. Just pretty much a straight pipe. So it's very, very loud. Now, of course, I would love to rev it for you guys, but I'm sort of surrounded in a neighborhood here, so I don't want the cops called. Now, walking onto this side, you guys will see that it pretty much matches the other side with the exception of this right here. So this is the gas door. Just pop that in, and there's your gas door. And then when you close it, you pop it back in and it shuts, and then there you go. Now let's actually take a look at the interior and then later go for an actual drive and see what the car sounds like. Now that we're inside the car, I'm going to show you guys a few of the cool features that this car has. Now keep in mind, this is my daily driver, and it is a little dusty. First thing we're going to look at here is on the side. You'll see that there's sort of driver-centric controls for the windows, for the mirrors, and for the actual trunk release, which is actually in the front. So honestly, it's a lot better than having to reach down here or having to reach below the seat in different places to like try to find the button. It's all right here for you. Now, of course, the seat controls are going to be right here, but regardless, this just makes it easier to work with. Here you guys will see Bang & Olufsen speakers. These actually light up, so if I flip the lights on here, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So right there, you'll see it's illuminated. This is typically at nighttime. And if we look over here as well, it's the same situation there. Now this really makes driving at night really, really nice with this car, because of course the whole car is illuminated in this little white color, and it's really, really nice. Now that we've talked about these controls here as well as the lighting with the speakers, let's actually talk about the steering wheel. So this steering wheel has everything on it. It has the engine start stop. It has the exhaust button, which actually doesn't work because of my race exhaust. Here you guys will see a checkered flag. This is for the race mode or the performance mode. Basically, it stiffens up the suspension, makes the car drive a lot more aggressively. If we click this button here, you guys will see the Audi MMI come on. Now, as you guys can tell, I put 3,300 miles on this thing in literally 3 months. So I've been pretty much driving this car everywhere I go. Now, what makes the Audi MMI system so good? It's the fact that you can pretty much customize it any way that you want. There are so many different ways to do stuff on here. You can hit this little view button right here, and then the map will change to a full screen size version. So if, let's say, it's telling me right here, I need my oil change due. Okay, cool. It'll tell me what music is playing. It'll tell me, you know, if I need to make some kind of phone calls. Now, if you guys take a look here, you'll see that I'm in dynamic mode. It's right under the P right there. And what dynamic mode is a sporty style of driving for this car. So the steering wheel feels a little stiffer than usual. The car shifts a little quicker than usual. And it honestly just feels like more of a race car, right? But there's this little button right here that I talked about earlier. So this is the performance button. If you press this button, you will see something change here. So not only does the traction light go off, but you see this little indicator on the left saying performance drive stabilization control. And then you'll see that the RPM it has risen a little bit. It's a little over 1200 RPM right now, and it's in performance mode. And of course, the traction light is actually off. So there is still a stability control. There is just no traction control on this car. And I'll explain a little later in this video why I drive the car like this. It's not just because I want to be, you know, as fast as possible wherever I'm driving, whether it's stuck in traffic or not. But I'll break it down why I only drive in the performance mode later on. Now looking at the steering wheel, once again, you guys will see we have paddle shifters here on the left and right side. It's just normal indicators like you would get in most any Audi product. It's actually very, very simple. This steering wheel, I'm pretty sure you can get in a new Audi TTRS. And now let's take a look over here. Now we've talked about the lack of, you know, navigation screen up here, but what I didn't talk about is the actual, you know, climate controls here. So honestly, when you look at them at first, you're sort of confused as to how this actually works. It took me honestly a few hours of driving this car to really truly figure out how to work this, but I'll explain it to you guys so that you guys know. Now, if we take over a look on the right here, you guys will see that there is a form of control here where you can, if you just turn it, it changes the direction of where the air is going to be traveling, right? Then underneath it, you'll see the rear window defrost. And then right here, you'll see off. Okay, so if let's say you want to blow like the air conditioning at your face, you would then turn this knob until the arrow is pointing at your face. Then here, you adjust your temperature, right? So you'll see that, let's say I want 70 degrees. And then you'll see here the different speeds. So I'm not gonna obviously blast it because of the microphone, but you guys will see that this is how you adjust the actual speed of which the air conditioning blows. Now there's something I really, really like about this area here that I think is honestly pretty ingenious. It's this right here. So you guys will see, this is the Audi R8 key, and it just fits snug in this little spot right there. And I love that so much. The audio controls are very, very comfortable. They are right here. You just turn this knob left to the right. And then if you want to skip the song, instead of pressing this little button here, you just go like this. You just turn it left and right, and that actually changes the song that you're playing. And then of course the transmission is here, so when you want to change gears, you hold this little button down and then you shift it upwards or downwards, and then if you want to park, press the little button and now you're parked. Now looking over here, you guys will see parking controls. This basically turns on your camera, which you guys will see right there. There's the camera. And so when you also turn the wheel, the little guidance lines change a little bit. So it's pretty intuitive to park this car, even though the rear visibility isn't the best. You guys can see what I see here. It's not really the best, but it makes it for an enjoyable experience, of course, when you have this giant camera right in front of your face showing you what's behind you. And then looking over, you guys will see the hazard lights, the traction light, which, like I said, because I drive it in performance mode, I never really have to worry about. And then over here is something I don't really use very much, but I gotta say it's pretty intuitive. Now, they didn't need to do this, but they actually have everything that you can do on the steering wheel right here, you can actually do right here as well. So you guys will see back, menu. This is actually touchscreen, so when you're filling out some you know, navigation instructions and you don't want to sit there and scroll through the different letters, you can actually type in letters here like B, C, D, and then it will actually fill it out real time as you are trying to input directions. Now, the things I was talking about earlier was these little buttons right here. So if you press down up on this button or down on this button, you'll see the little light go off. And basically this puts you on the correct menu right here that you guys can see. Basically now it's on my phone. And this is honestly super intuitive. And of course the parking brake. Audi has really, really put everything that you need to do in terms of like using your car. Everything is on your steering wheel now. No more focusing on here. Now they just added this because honestly, if they didn't, it would look very bare bones here. But I mean, everything you do now is right here. Changing music, doing map instructions, doing navigation, calling your friends, changing you know, settings on the car. Everything is done through here and this screen right there. I mean, everything is just flows so well, and this is what makes this car a really good daily driver. And I love the interior design. There's like carbon fiber here. It's more of the dry carbon fiber look. It's not like the super shiny carbon fiber. It's more of a matte carbon fiber finish that you guys can maybe hopefully see right here. Carbon fiber, carbon fiber. I mean, honestly, carbon fiber is everywhere in this car, especially on the outside as well. I'm not seeing any more here. But another thing I wanted to point out about the interior, and I don't know if you guys can see this clearly, but this is diamond stitch leather. This is a $5,000 option on this car, and I gotta say, absolutely worth it. I mean, if you're gonna spend the money, might as well get the really, really nice looking Alcantara suede headliner, and then you guys will see the diamond stitch seats. This is with the red stitching on the seats. So this is red stitching. Now, sorry about the little hairs down here. My dog sometimes comes in here for a little bit. You guys will see in the back here that there's a little bit of cargo space right there on that little net. And then right here is where you put your CDs, if you're gonna, you know, or like SD cards and CDs if you want to play any kind of music or update your actual Google map. That's what that's gonna really be for. And then looking around, and then of course there is the cup holder right here. So the little button on the side right there for the cup holder. Now that we're done with the interior, let's talk about my driving impressions of driving this car for a little over 3,000 miles. Now, as far as experience driving supercars, I'm actually quite limited there because I've only driven a handful of like entry-level supercars. So think, you know, McLaren 570S, GT3, Huracan, and of course this R8, as well as an NSX that I actually owned before I bought this car, and I ended up trading that car in for this one. Now, one more thing to know, guys, and you guys can probably hear, is the fact that this car has a racing exhaust on it. So it has the Soul Performance race exhaust. It eliminates the resonators, it eliminates the mufflers, and it eliminates the secondary cats. So it's incredibly, incredibly loud. Now, like you guys, I've also grown up watching videos of V10 Gallardos and R8s and Huracans and all these cool cars with these V10s, basically sounding amazing, whether they're twin turboed or straight piped or whatever. And I knew that within a week of buying this car, I was like, I need to get that fixed. I need to get that car to be loud, because coming from the NSX, which I gotta say was a little bit withheld on the noise department, it sounded good for a V6, but it wasn't like this, you know what I mean? Now, as far as driving feel goes, like I said earlier, I have a limited experience driving this car. If I had to give it a rating out of 10 on how daily driver friendly it is, I would probably say for a supercar, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. I mean, it's honestly perfect. Now, of course, the exhaust does hinder my comfort a little bit because it is so loud, but you know what? It's perfectly fine. I love every second of it, and it's comfy. The seats are super supportive, but they're not like bucket seats which like impede on your sides, or they're hard on the bottom or stuff like that. It's very soft leather on the seats, and honestly, it makes daily driving this car a breeze. Now let's talk about steering feel, and I gotta say, this is a little bit subjective because of course there's people that, you know, like different steering feels on different cars. Some people love the no power steering kind of feel where it's really rough around the edges. Some people like the really lightweight steering like you get out of maybe a Rolls Royce or a Bentley. And then some people like a sort of middle ground, like if you were driving an M4 or something like that. Because, you know, the M4 has the adjustable steering sensitivities and stuff like that to make it turn harder or softer and stuff like that. So this car has dynamic steering. So what dynamic steering does is that at low speeds, it makes it really easy to turn the wheel, and then it progressively gets harder the faster you go. So I think over 40 or 50 or 60 miles an hour, it completely is like turned off, right? So it makes, like, you know, driving at the speed limit very, very easy and easy to turn. And then of course, when you're driving a little faster, of course that turns off. Now you guys may see here on the screen that I'm driving with the traction control off. Why am I doing that? Well, for one reason and one reason only, the exhaust. Okay, so this car has what's basically similar to cylinder deactivation. When you're driving the car at a low RPM, cruising down at 35, 40 miles an hour, the car likes to turn off 5 cylinders in order to make the car be more gas efficient, right? Well, when you put it in dynamic mode, in normal mode, in comfort mode, all these other modes, it enables that cylinder deactivation stuff I was talking about. But because of my exhaust and because of how loud it is, for whatever reason, when this car swaps over into the 5-cylinder mode, it drones so loud. I mean, here, let's try to hear it actually. Do you guys hear this? This is the droney version of the exhaust. I'm in comfort mode right now, and when I step on the throttle, I'll enable the other 5 cylinders to come back on, and you guys will hear that the car gets significantly quieter. Here we go. There it goes. Now it's back to being quiet. Oh, there it comes back. You hear it again. So when I put it in performance mode, I'll press the button right now. It gets much, much quieter. Now, there's an added benefit of this. I get to drive it in performance mode, which is what I want to do all the time. Anyways, now to answer your question, is this car fast? Absolutely, 100%, this car is very, very fast. Now, is this car faster than a Huracan? Does it stop better from 60 than, let's say, a 570S? Is it slower in this measurement or that measurement? And honestly, once you own this car, you'll realize that it doesn't really matter, okay? A few tenths here or a millisecond there or a few miles here and there, it honestly all sort of feels like the same once you've driven the car. And really the only thing that sticks out to you about these cars is because they're already, like I said, so fast, is the experience that it gives you. And you know, the experience, for example, that I had with a 570S, while it's way faster than a Porsche GT3 I drove, it didn't match the GT3 in terms of steering feel, chassis feel, the exhaust note at 9,000 RPMs, stuff like that. And I know everyone knows the GT3 is slower than a 570S, but that's what this car is. This car is the GT3 to the 570S. Now, what are my final thoughts on this car for this little car review we've done today? Honestly, this car is fast, this car is comfortable, this car sounds amazing. I think it looks great, but of course looks are subjective. The interior is amazing. The Audi MMI is probably the best in the business. I'm pretty sure that a Lamborghini Huracan has something very, very similar to it with the full LED, LCD screen. So, you know, of course, you know, if you're looking at a Huracan, that's still an amazing car. And just the overall experience of owning a supercar, but being as comfortable as, let's say, driving a 5 Series is amazing, honestly. I mean, I think that if anyone out there is trying to buy a supercar, the best one would be to go for an R8 or maybe a Huracan, depending on where you live. Because where I would have bought a Huracan, but the problem with that is there's no dealership network near me. So if I ever had to do maintenance or fix something or get something, you know, checked at, looked at, I'd have to ship a car 200 miles just to do that. So of course that wasn't very feasible for me, considering I'd be driving it a lot, so I didn't want to maybe get a problematic car, right? So with all that said, guys, amazing car. I love it very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've tried littering this video with exhaust clips and, you know, accelerations and stuff like that. It's just really hard with Portland being Portland with all the traffic day or night. It doesn't really matter. But once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And you guys have a great day.